Hey guys, Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. This is Active Self-Protection Extra, and you're here for Manus Dry Fire Monday. I'm going to be using a SIRT pistol today, so this is a non-functioning firearm. All it does is shoot the laser. But it's got an active trigger, so I can talk about what we're going to talk about today. Okay.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
We give a lot of negative commands in shooting in general. Don't slap the trigger, grip the pistol harder. We don't really tell people what to do. We tell them to stop doing things we don't want them to. And that doesn't create a better athlete or a better shooter in the long run because we're not giving them the correct correction. What we need to do is make connection to the trigger so that we understand that convulsive hand movements will move us away from our goals. That's how simple it is. But there are three components to it. One is technical, how do you actually press the trigger? One is psychological, what happens and what creates pressures in your mind to make that compulsive decision to press your whole hand. And physiological, how does stress lose our tactical acuity so we can't feel things anymore? And how does it affect us in gripping, and how much more will the sight move you tremble as we shoot? So let's talk about this a little bit. Remember, shooting is both visual and kinesthetic. We have to see and feel when we shoot. Otherwise, you only have one way to measure your success. People are really geared towards vision. That's fantastic. But you're always going to be trying to clean up instead of seeing and feeling. Feeling is much quicker than seeing. Two signals to the brain come in upside down. They have to be combined. They have blind spots in them. Brain's got to guess what's going on. Feeling is almost instantaneous. It's very quick. I can get good connection to it. And it depends on the target. The target will tell us how much we need of trigger control. So if I have a very large target and it's very close, then I'm going to have to press the trigger really quickly. Okay? If I have a medium-sized target, at whatever distance, I'm going to have to be a bit careful there. And if I'm going to shoot a very small target, I need to be precise in my trigger press. So most of you don't have 3 trigger speeds, you have 1. Use it for everything, and it's like a Gerber tool. It does a couple things okay, and the rest of it's kind of a mess. So let's talk about how this works here. Okay, so non-functioning firearm, but we got a trigger here. One of the worst things that's been taught is get to the wall, stop, and hold, and then press, pin the trigger to the rear, slowly let it out, and get back to the wall and hold. And the reason I'm not a big fan of it is because it violates the laws of inertia. Things in motion tend to remain in motion. Things at rest tend to remain at rest. And when you pin a trigger, you're putting a lot of pressure into the frame for no particular reason. The gun is dead at that point. It can't be fired. So let's talk about what I see as trigger slapping. Okay, people are getting after it. What they do is they aim. They get a perfect sight picture. It's only perfect for 1/10 of a second. So inside themselves, they say now, and they do that with their trigger. Bang! Everything happens at once. The whole hand convulses. The reason psychologically they've decided to do that is either they have the perfect amount or just enough information. They decided that this is the moment in time, so they stop processing there, or there's a time constraint and they know they have to press the trigger to either get through the qualification, the classifier, the test, or the fight. So what we've got to do is learn to press the trigger appropriately. Okay, one of the best ways to do that is make a connection to it. So I want to feel both sides of the trigger. Okay, if you can only feel the right edge, your gun's probably too large for your hand. All right, with a Glock, if you have no space right here and your bicep tends to rest against the gun, it will push it to the left. Now, I don't want to get to the wall and stop. What I want to do is keep moving, and let the trigger break, and then let it reset. And now I'm back to the prep and reset. All right, and reset. So I'm really feeling the trigger. This is great for very small targets. Being very precise, that's the kind of trigger press I want. Now, if I don't need that much care, and say it's a medium-sized target here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, but I'll really make up with a grip with the left hand, okay? And then, so I'm exercising a bit of care, so I'm really still feeling the trigger. And then the final one is with a big target. Big target, I'm going to release the feeling of the trigger altogether, and I'm going to really grip with my support hand, and when I grip, I'm going to move my finger as fast as I can here, okay? Doesn't matter if it comes off the trigger. Okay? Your connection to the trigger while it's dead doesn't help you to shoot better. The prepping of the trigger does, and the target size is going to tell you which one's more important. Okay? Feel both sides of the trigger. Use your kinesthetic feeling of gripping and trigger feel. Use your visual to clean up the sight movie in a continuous motion so you don't drop out of the process. And you'll have great dividends from this because it will make a large difference in your shooting, because it's going to give you some control over what you're doing instead of just pressing the trigger when you think everything's perfect. You know, that whole, I've got it. Now, you can see how much the gun moved, okay? Or if I'm shooting quick and everything's there and I'm doing this, which is just wasting time. You got a choice. All right, you got a certain amount of time, certain amount of information to gather. Psychologically, that's always the time pressures. Physiologically, you're going to be amped up. You're going to have more tension in your body. So you have to try to relax the tension in the trigger side so you can feel better. Otherwise, that hand's gripped too tightly. All right. Technically, feel both sides of the trigger, keep it moving, recognize that this is a circle and recognize that this is a circle. So we can't press it straight to the rear. We're activating two circles. So the circle's going this way, this circle's going this way. So much like a rudder on a sailboat, we're just going to manage the right and left movement as we see it in the sight movie and as we feel it in our hands. Okay, guys, get on your Mantis. You can really work just trigger prepping and pressing on the Mantis. It's great for that. And then look at your graph and look how you connected with your aiming, how you prep the trigger, and then what happened after you pressed it. So to give you some feedback, okay? I know you're always pursuing those good scores, but watch the graph. That's where the real information is. You're gonna get a lot better, a lot quicker with that. This is Active Self-Protection. Please hit subscribe and like button, leave a comment. Helps our videos tremendously to get out there. Lots of great things going on in this channel. And thank you to Mantis for making a system that allows us to follow up on that. All right, someday I'll get out of my Krog hood and I can let you see both at the same time. I just haven't quite figured out how to do all that yet, but we'll work on it, okay? Something like this is a great asset for dry fire training so that you can work on trigger speeds, okay, and really feel what's necessary because the target tells you what to do. All right, guys, I'm Brian Hill with The Complete Combatant, and as always, measure, refine, and perform.